life maintenance. That is oxygen, nutrients, vitamin, protection from the infectious or injurious structure. So and it is carried through the blood. And you see the red line represents the umbilical vein, not the artery. You should be clear that in the case of the umbilical, your internet, so you see that in the infant and the adult life, the arteries are represented by uh, so this red line represents the umbilical vein which carries the oxygenated blood. So here you see this when reach this area, so this is divided into two. One is through the umbilical vein. Half of this or 50% of this will go to the liver and 50% will go to the inferior vena cava. And from there, it will go to the right atrium. From there, again, it is divided. Partially, it will go to the left atrium, and there is an opening which is called the foramen ovale. That is in the wall of the both ventricles, that is right and left. We have partition that is called the septa, and in that we have a foramen which communicate the right atrium with the left atrium. So a maximum blood which contains highly oxygen concentration, so it will go most of the through this foramen ovale to the left atrium, and from some of this will go to the ventricle, and from the ventricle there it will go to the pulmonary veins, and from there it goes for some about 10% to the lungs, because at this stage, that is in the intrauterine life, the lungs are not performing the respiratory function, but it is only for the growth of the lung. So part of that goes to the lung, and maximum blood is bypassed to the ductus arteriosus and then from there it will join the systemic circulation through the aorta. And so some blood from the left atrium goes to the left ventricle to the aorta, and from that is less amount of the blood which contains the oxygen, but mixed with the deoxygenated blood which has brought to this left atrium from the by the superior vena cava from the upper extremity and the brain, so they will come through this ductus arteriosus, because as I told you that the lungs need little amount of the oxygen, and from there through the pulmonary vein, which the blood which has brought to the lung will come to the left atrium, and it will mix with the well oxygenated blood which has been brought through the inferior vena cava through the right atrium, foramen ovale, and to the left atrium. From there, it will go to the aorta. And from the aorta, you see, it will first supply the vital organ, that is the heart, the brain, and the upper extremity, and then it will go down to the lower extremity, and it will, after that, some that goes to the placenta, and this circle again and again have the mechanism, this one. Now, here, you see the fetal cardiovascular system is designed before birth. ये उधरी बस सही नहीं So the fetal cardiovascular system, you are so the fetal cardiovascular system is designed that is for before birth what we need it is fulfilled by that and after birth what are the changes which must take place to fulfill the requirements after birth. So it is designed to serve the prenatal needs and to permit modification at birth which establish neonatal circulation. Why? Because change important and if the changes which we will come inshallah and discuss in the slides coming one so that helps in the highly oxygenation of the lungs and thus to the body so what are the changes which will take place after birth. So these are the structure which we have must concept regarding these. One is three structures are very important in the transitional circulation. That is the circulation which are carried in the prenatal life and the postnatal life. So these are the structure which are playing an important role. First is ductus venosus, the other is ductus arteriosus, and the third is the foramen ovale. Here you see this cake-shaped structure. It is the placenta. From placenta, you see this reddish line. This one, this is the uh, umbilical vein. Now you see here, this umbilical vein is nearly equally divided into two portions. So this one, it will supply the liver through the, and it will join the portal vein. And from there, through the hepatic so from here, then it will join the inferior vena cava indirectly. That is meaning that the oxygenated blood has been brought to the liver where it will fulfill the requirements of the growing liver and then it will return to inferior vena cava. While the remaining 50%, it will go through the ductus, this one. This is the ductus arteriosus or ductus venosus, which directly carry the oxygenated blood to the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. And you see this here, they have shown that we have the veil of the inferior vena cava or the opening here, and it will come to the left, to the right atrium. From there, here we have the foramen ovale, and from the foramen ovale, it will come to the right atrium, and from there to the right ventricle. From here, we would be having the ascending aorta. Here we have arch of the aorta, and from the right one, some of the blood from the right atrium, which is left behind, entering the left atrium, it will come to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, it will go through the pulmonary trunk. One is reddish one and the other was the pinkish one, meaning that it contains less oxygen comparatively to the ascending are the reddish vessels. So from the right ventricle, the pulmonary trunk will arise. But as I told you in the previous slide, that the lungs need very little oxygen because it is filled with amniotic fluid and thus it will bypass the pulmonary trunk And this one, this is the ductus arteriosus, which carries the maximum blood to the descending aorta. This is the descending aorta. So the ductus venosus is this structure which carries 50% of the oxygenated blood to the inferior vena cava. The ductus arteriosus is that bypass mechanism by which maximum blood, instead of going through the lungs, is bypassed to the descending aorta. Foramen ovale. What is foramen ovale? This is the opening or foramen in the partition or the septum which is between the right and the left atria. Next. So here they have written that is a fetal cardiovascular system is designed to fulfill the requirements of the developing embryo before birth or in the intrauterine life and after birth or postnatal life. Here, that is the blood. Dayar padi ki rashi por askataki. The screen land rahi.
دايم ده لاندي ده كان ده بخبل بريش بس هي ده
Flavor.
بدوي
No, the landing form. That.
ده
No, but depressible. They are interrelated, we can. हम work with the three-dimensional simulation. So the blood can reach and leave the fetus through the umbilical cord. अब ये umbilical cord क्या है? ये umbilical cord है, which connects the placenta to the fetal circulation. So this umbilical cord consists of one umbilical vein, which is reddish, carrying the highly oxygenated blood from the placenta to the fetus, and it has two umbilical arteries, so which carry deoxygenated blood from the fetus to the placenta. So here these bluish vessels which are winding around the reddish one. So these are two. Here you see they are two, and thus they carry the deoxygenated blood, because now from the descending aorta or an abdominal aorta from the pelvic area, it has started. Okay, so definitely the blood which has come here to pass throughout the body of the fetus, so it has become deoxygenated, or it has lost maximum oxygen to the tissue or given to the tissue of the fetus. So they are shown as bluish one, but as they are carrying the deoxygenated blood, so they are called the as they are carrying away from the body, so they are the heart. So what they call on the basis of definition, they are called the arteries. Otherwise, they are having deoxygenated blood. So carry deoxygenated blood from the fetus to the placenta. So how it works? Highly oxygenated blood as in the previous slide I shown to you that highly oxygenated blood passes from the placenta through the umbilical vein. Now half, that is 1 over 2 or 50%, it will go directly to the inferior vena cava. As in the previous, what they call in the slide, you saw that the umbilical vein divided into two. One is entering the liver and the other is directly opening into the inferior vena cava. So the highly oxygenated blood passes from the placenta to the fetus, divides into two. Half of this directly opens into inferior vena cava through the ductus venosus, while remaining half it will enter the what they call the liver, and from there it will enter to inferior vena cava. Next. So here it was like all their diagram, that is we have the placenta. This is the umbilical cord. It consists of two arteries, one vein, and this here it is clear. It has umbilical arteries too, one from left, other right, and then the umbilical vein is single one. And you should not confuse that we call it vein, and they have given the red color because it carries the highly oxygenated blood, as they have shown here. This is a oxygen rich blood, and the vein or the artery have less oxygen. Now here you see this is the umbilical, this is the umbilical cord. It has umbilical vein and it has two umbilical arteries. The umbilical vein, it will go to the liver 50%, and the ductus venosus, through that the remaining 50%, it will directly open into the inferior vena cava. Well, from here it is indirectly coming to the inferior vena cava. From the inferior vena cava, it goes to the right atrium, which are, you see, this color is not as reddish as this one, because we here we have the deoxygenated blood which has come from the superior vena cava. Here you see this small structure. So here this is the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. This is the right atrium. This is the left atrium. This is the superior vena cava. So definitely the blood which is highly oxygenated, it mixes with the blood which is brought by the superior vena cava from the upper extremity and the brain neck area. So it mixes up. But you see here, as soon as the blood enters the right atrium, so here we have a flap-shaped structure which is hanging. So this is the septum secundum, and it has a free end that is called the cresta dividens, or free end of the hanging septum secundum. This direct the highly oxygenated blood to the left atrium. Now, how it reaches here? Here we have an opening, and that is called, in the beginning, we have said that we will stress upon three structures. One of them is here, that is called the foramen ovale, because it has valvular mechanism and valvular structure. So the blood will enter to the left, and here it is also a net % oxygen, because you see here, these bluish lines. These two bluish lines represent the pulmonary vein which bring the blood from the developing lungs. So definitely the lungs, instead of oxygenating the blood, in the reverse direction it performs. That is, the blood which has already high oxygen, it will be used by the lung, and so here we would be a slight mixing of deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. And from there now it will enter the what they call left ventricle. From the left ventricle, then it goes through the aorta to the body, which we have discussed in the previous what they call slide. So to cross depend, that is, the cross depend upon the pressure difference between the right and the left atrium. As this foramen, has a valvular mechanism. So as soon as the blood now in the intrauterine life, the pressure of the right atrium is more comparatively to the left atrium. When the left atrium contracts, so here we have a flap shape remnant of other septum. Yesterday we have discussed that the foramen ovale is formed in the septum primum. After degeneration, its upper part, while the lower part it will flap like mechanism. So when the left atrium contract, so it will close this foramen, and now it will direct this to the right ventricle. So again here, so I am revising that the umbilical cord bring the having one umbilical vein and two umbilical arteries. The umbilical vein brings the oxygenated blood. Half of that goes to the liver directly, and half of that go to the inferior vena cava through a bypass vessel which is called the ductus venosus. And this inferior vena cava, inferior vena cava will bring the blood to the right atrium, and from the right atrium to the right ventricle, as well as by contraction of this, the pressure is here high. So the first coming blood that is highly oxygenated, it will come to the left atrium. Okay. So from there through the foramen ovale, and then from the right atrium to the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery, and through the bypass, that is the ductus arteriosus, it will come to the descending aorta, because no functional lungs, it fills, it is filled with fluid, because that and the fluid that is the amniotic fluid, which helps in its development on one side, and the other side the oxygenation mechanism is impossible here, because the vessels, they are thick wall, and the lungs cavities or alveoli, they are filled with the amniotic fluid. So the maximum blood through ductus arteriosus will come to the what they call, to the descending aorta, and from the left atrium it will go to left ventricle. From here, from the left ventricle, it will go to the ascending aorta. In the previous look here, this is uh, here, this is the left atrium, so it will come to the left ventricle, and this ascending aorta will carry the oxygenated blood. Now, here. So, ascending aorta and aortic arch, in the aortic arch, already we have the mixed type of the blood. And from there, it will again, a small amount of the highly oxygenated blood in the right atrium mixed with the venous blood from the superior vena cava. इसकी बात कर रहा है कि small amount of highly oxygenated blood. ये highly oxygenated blood कहाँ से आया? ये जो है अभी हमने कहा कि ये जो inferior vena cava है, it carries the highly oxygenated blood. और जो poorly oxygenated blood है, that is brought by the superior vena cava. So, with the venous blood from the superior vena cava passes to the right ventricle, then to the pulmonary artery, and as I told you that only 10% approximately what they call go to the lungs, and the remaining quantity of the blood that is passes to the descending aorta to supply the inferior part of our body, and this is through the ductus arteriosus, the maximum blood brought by the pulmonary artery will bypass the pulmonary artery and the descending aorta, and then from there back to the umbilical artery. Now, after ligation, you see here is the baby, they are ligating the umbilical cord. So, after ligation of the umbilical cord, sudden fall of the blood pressure in the inferior vena cava. Why? Because, as we said, that the baby is dependent on the umbilical vein, and this umbilical vein bring the blood to the inferior vena cava either directly or indirectly. That is directly in the form of the truncus venosus, and indirectly through portal vein and the right atrium to the wall of the ductus venosus constrict. It is said that there is definitely a valvular, what they call, there is a sphincter mechanism in the ductus venosus, but not anatomical, physiological. As soon as the changes occur in the blood pressure, for example, there is contraction of the uterine vessel, so blood will increase. So this sphincteric mechanism will close the ductus venosus to overpressure or overburden the heart. So they have written here the wall of the ductus venosus construct, but it is the sphincter. After aeration of the lungs at birth, what happened in the pulmonary, the pulmonary blood flow increases because now the baby has what they call the fluid. This bluish one represents the fluid. So the amniotic fluid, as the baby is upside down, that is head is downward. So the maximum fluid is what they call out of the lungs. As the time passes, the quantity of the the quantity of the amniotic fluid in the lung, it decreases, and thus the resistance to the blood vessel decreases, so pulmonary blood flow will increase. And second, what they call mechanism or how this blood is increased, thinning of the wall of the pulmonary artery. शुरू में देखो ये करीब करीब होते हैं, और मतलब है कि वो उसकी वो जो पल्मोनरी आर्टरी का डायमेंशन है वो या ल्यूमन है वो कंस्ट्रक्ट होता है. यूं ही वो फैल जाता है तो सिमिलरली द वेसल्स will also stretch, and thus the resistance decreases. and there is a dramatic fall in the vascular resistance. Now, here, changes after birth. What are the changes occurring in the foramen ovale? As soon as the baby is born, so pressure on the left side increases, while now the pulmonary vein, which were carrying only 10% of the blood, now it will bring about 50%, or the pressure will increase to 50 millimeter of the mercury, and thus the pressure on the left side after birth, it increases. In the prenatal life, the pressure was less on the left side. Only during contraction that foramen ovale used to be closed. But now it is the quantity of the blood which is brought by the pulmonary vein to the left atrium. So it will increase the volume and it will increase the pressure on the left side, and thus it will close the foramen ovale. And then it is a physiological closure within minutes. And then we have anatomic closure, and they say that is about 46 or 76 hours. But even then, there is a probe patency, or there is small communication for a month. Now, 20% of the lumen of the ductus arteriosus, what happens? It closes at the end of the 21st hours. क्यों कि the lungs after aeration secretes a substance that is called bradykinin, and this bradykinin is responsible for the construction of the blood vessel muscles, but in low tension, in the when the tension of the oxygen increases up to 50. So these bradykinin causes the what they call the vessel walls to constrict. So by 24 hours, it is about 20% closure. Then by 88% of the ductus closed by the 48 hours, and 10% closed by 96 hours or 4 days. Now here, they have, after substance release from the fetal lung during their initial inflation, जो ही बच्चा पैदा होता है और वो चीखता है, तो मतलब उसके लंग्स का मतलब है कि वो जिस तरह मैंने आपको बताया कि वो चूंकि उल्टा पैदा हो, सर उसका नीचे होता है, तो कुछ फ्लूइड उस तरह से फिर वो कंस्ट्रक्शन की वजह से जो यूट्राइन कैनाल से निकलता है, तो उसके साथ जो है कंस्ट्रक्शन की वजह से लंग जो है वो ब्रेडिकाइनिन जो है वो मतलब रिलीज करता है. इट हैज अ कंट्रैक्टाइल इफेक्ट ऑन द स्मूथ मसल ऑफ द डक्टस आर्टियोसिस, बट its action is dependent upon the high oxygen saturation of the aortic blood. फिर वो जो bradykinin है, so when the oxygen tension reaches 50 millimeter of mercury in the ductus arteriosus, so it causes the constriction of the smooth muscle of the ductus arteriosus. During intrauterine fetal life, the patency of the ductus arteriosus is controlled by the 10% of the what they call oxygen which passing through it. तो मतलब है जब ऑक्सीजन क्वांटिटी इसकी कम होती है तो ये फिर इतना कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं करता है. जो the quantity of the oxygen increases, so along with that the constrictions occur, and the ductus arteriosus, as you saw in the previous what they call slide. First we have 10%, 20%, 2% or 80% and then 10% after 96 hours because now the high oxygen tension is maintained. So hypoxia, that is little amount of the oxygen and other ill-defined factors keep the ductus arteriosus patent. अभी जो है मतलब एक बच्चा है वो बहुत ऊंचे पहाड़ों में पैदा हुआ है तो उसकी वो जो ductus arteriosus है it will be patent for more than 94 hours because there the oxygen tension will be low. Now these are the derivative which after birth we see in the adult or the fetal life human body. So what will be in the adult anatomy or the postnatal life, the structure. So the umbilical vein, it will form the round ligament of the, what they call of the liver. Then umbilical arteries will form the medial umbilical ligament. ये जो हम आप मतलब एब्डोमिनल वॉल को डाइसेक्ट करते हैं रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं तो जो हमारा अम्बेलिकस है वहाँ से मतलब लीवर तक वो उसके साथ तीन मतलब लेगामेंट्स है एक बनता है जो हमारा अगर आपको याद हो थर्ड वीक में we have studied the urachus so that will form the median umbilical ligament while the umbilical artery will form the medial umbilical ligament. And then the ductus venosus will give rise to ligamentum venosum. And ductus arteriosus, it will form the ligamentum arteriosum. And foramen ovale, when it closes, so, so the rays, the rays free edge or margin of the septum secundum, it will form a raised area and the primum will form a depression. So that is called the fossa ovalis and the or oval depression. And you will see this in which atrium. Fossa ovalis will be in the right atrium because the cresta dividends are the free end of the septum secundum as I shown to you in the previous slides. That is the free hanging margin or end of the septum secundum. It is also called the cresta dividend. So in adult anatomy, when the foramen ovale is closed, so the depression will be formed by the septum primum, while the margin will be formed by the septum secundum. Sometimes you are asked regarding this in your viva because they ask about the gross anatomy of the interior of the right atrium. That is important from this point of view. So again here we have the summary. That is the placenta. From there we have the oxygenated blood. So that half of this go to the liver and half of that directly to the inferior vena cava which is carried to the liver. It will pass through veins to inferior vena cava and from the inferior vena cava it will enter the right atrium. From there through the foramen ovale, some will come to left atrium while some will go to the right ventricle and from there through the pulmonary trunk. You see, to the lung we have a little amount of the blood because at this stage the lungs do not want what they call, does not need the oxygen as it is in the postnatal life. And the maximum blood will go to a descending aorta through the ductus arteriosus. And from there, it will go to a systemic circulation to umbilical artery and to the placenta. Well, this question here, Allah, I think,